he was talking about how he was trying to manifest something in his life, and he was doing everything, every step that he, knew to do in the order he knew to do it. And it wasn't manifesting, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. And he realized there was somebody involved in what he was trying to manifest that he hadn't completely forgiven for something. He was holding some judgment or resentment or something. And as soon as he let it go, what he was trying to manifest came instantly. And I was listening to this and, and thinking about forgiveness and thinking about, everything that entails, and realized that there are some people that I have had interactions with in the past, with an old business, and I really hadn't forgiven them. And one of them was just a controlling issue, and one of them is a monetary issue that he still owes us money. And I realized that, I don't have to forgive the debt, but I can forgive the resentment that's being dragged along with that debt. And it was really, really interesting, because the second, and I still have more forgiveness work to do with both of these people for myself, but I did a lot of that work this week, and I really just sent them a lot of love and a lot of energy and a lot of blessings and joy and thoughts of good prosperity for them. And it was interesting, because within 24 hours, we had a friend of mine call and introduce us to another person who's looking for an investment, and we're looking for investors, and it's kind of exactly the situation I've been looking for. So we're starting some talks about what that might look like in the future. And this is something I've been trying to manifest, and I've been asking for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 months, that it just has not come and has not come and has not come. And all of a sudden it was exactly what I've been looking for. So I thought that was a really, really interesting timing to happen.
Yeah.
So
and how perfect that you're sort of, ahead of the curve, in that we're studying the laws of forgiveness and sacrifice this week, tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that too. And I'm like, and I know that we're moving into the laws of forgiveness. I jumped ahead. I may have studied a little ahead this week.
That's absolutely fine, of course, but it's always powerful to watch Mary in her presentation. So wonderful. That's great, Wendy. Thank you. And Anthony, how are you doing tonight? And what's your aha, your win, your takeaway? What are you noticing?
Good morning. Good Friday. Good morning.
Oh, it's Good Friday in your part of the world already.
Yeah, it's Good Friday already. And my win is realizing that every day I have a win. Because, as I said last week, I was having a hard time remembering what wins I got, and I'm still going to approach to the journal that I have that has so many entries, has entries every day, and of the money coming in. So there has been consistently coming in sales, money, and whatever to my life. That's my win for this week.
That's beautiful. And that'll be a win you can carry with you for all time now.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's been a very challenging week because the Holy Week is a big thing here in the Philippines. It's a big vacation time. Some would go for vacation, others would go for visita iglesia, which is to visit churches around the Philippines or even around Manila. So, but the good side is there's not much traffic. I think traffic here has been reduced down by 90%. And standard Manila traffic is really horrible. It'll take you, 2 hours to travel 10 kilometers?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was reduced by 90% because of Holy Week. So we get to go around the metro. Yeah.
With much greater ease.
With much greater ease, yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So, that's something here in Manila.
We will celebrate that with you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And Leila, what's your win? What's going on for you this week?
I'm working on my speaking up to be heard. And a few things that had bothered me, I was able to speak up about it, and I feel really good about it.
Awesome.
And I am on my way towards working on those dreams. There's nothing else holding me back. And I've been working on the marketing of my house and the marketing of myself, and being at peace at a few steps at a time is all I need to take to get there. It doesn't have to happen immediately, because I do need to back up and relax as well and not keep running as hard as I have been. I did start working on the garage. I'm reorganizing it. And hopefully this weekend I will actually get the tree down.
Awesome.
The decorations are all put away, but the tree is still up. But it'll come down this weekend, I hope. And my niece is in town, and I'm really excited to spend time with her. And it's a good day.
Great. Great. Anything you care to share into the group about your weekend?
It was an awesome weekend. I love being in Sedona. All of the people that we were with, very heartful ladies. And we did some intense work on releasing the things that no longer serve us, all the trash that we need to throw away, which was awesome. I found within me a much larger portion of anger than I thought that I had, which was more rage than anger, but able to really work on releasing that. And what a freeing experience that was. It felt good, yes. And so I feel much lighter this week. I feel more at peace. And that also comes back to the part on being heard. That's another thing that's important for me, is to be heard. And you can't be heard if you don't speak up.
Right.
So that is something has felt good this week.
Beautiful.
And otherwise, I've just been so doggone busy since I got back. I haven't had time to do much of anything else anyway.
Well, there you go. We're going to call busy good.
Busy is good.
Yep.
It's been a healthy busy.
Yep.
So.
Great. Thank you.
And thank you for this weekend. Hallelujah. It was awesome.
Yeah. You're welcome. And for those of you who don't know, we were in a women's retreat in Sedona that was quite profound. So there'll be more. So stay tuned. Anthony, I don't know when the men's retreat will be, but not this week. So, all right, tonight we are looking at, my check-in. Let me just give a brief check-in. I did the Sedona retreat with 6 amazing women plus myself, and came back to my home in Arizona after that in order to move back to Arkansas. So we are now in Arkansas, which is where our home is. We usually do 6 months here and 6 months in Arizona, but we didn't do that this year. So if you don't know where I am, it's okay. I barely do, but we are settling here. We got back late last night and settling into the next, at least the summer, if not longer, here in Arkansas, which is sort of central of the state and very southern, which is, of course, quite interesting for many levels, but we love it and happy to be home. And I woke up this morning and I did again. It's like, where am I? Kind of this whole, like, whoa, like this kind of thing. So I'm happy to be here. And this is week number 6 of our 7-week course. So next week is our final week together in this format. Tonight we're studying the laws of forgiveness and the laws of sacrifice. It's a very, very powerful week. And it can feel a little heavy. It's not heavy in the way Mary presents it, but thinking about forgiveness and sacrifice, I just invite you to bring a beginner's mind, to bring a willingness to hear and see and feel something maybe a little bit different than you have in the past. So with that, we open officially with prayer. So I invite you to close your outer eyes and take a moment to drop into this container, this 7-week experiment. The art and science of living full potential wealth. The art and the science is both leaning into what we would love, clearing the space of what's in the way in consciousness, in our own consciousness, and opening ourselves to discover and to become. And so tonight, as we begin to explore the ideas of forgiveness and sacrifice, we open our minds, we open our very beings to an aha, to a new idea, to a new possibility, to finding and experiencing tonight a doorway into a deeper level of your own beingness, into a deeper expression of those dreams that are already within you. So we take a moment to lean into what would we love? The vision we've been playing with for these past few weeks. What would we love? 3 years from now, what would we love? Feeling into how it feels to have that dynamic health. How it feels to have those incredibly blessed relationships, both intimate partnership and colleagues and friends and co-workers. As we lean into our vocation, living the life of our dreams and our vocation. And we lean into how does it feel to have time and money freedom, to really be able to say to anything that comes up, I have the time to do that. I have the money to do that. The freedom that comes with mastery in time and money. So as we lean into those dreams, we align ourselves, we memorize the vibration of who we are becoming. And it's in that expanded place that we start tonight. So take another deep breath in, open your mind, heart, soul, very being to the work, to the insights, to the teachings in tonight's course. And so it is. And so we let it be. So I think we're just going to start. The key ideas for me are a teaching around letting go of the good for a greater good, being uncomfortable in the interest of growth, and the whole concept around forgiveness, the pain of regret or transformation. So we're going to jump right into the videos. I want to just did want to just mention that Terry is busy with a wedding tonight. Nadia and Glory are both doing things with their church, with their ministry, and they may, especially Glory may pop in towards the end. So if she does, or Nadia does, we just open the space for all that. Meanwhile, we open the space to include them in all that we do this evening. So here we go. Let's welcome Mary. That Mary is sharing, we're leaning into the idea of sacrifice. Where can you give up the good for a greater good? I love the story of the baseball, because oftentimes in baseball, they'll sacrifice a first base or a hitter, for a run or for a more advanced base. where can we turn things around? So I want you to just lean into a possibility. We had this beautiful sharing earlier about, well, Wendy was sharing about her own forgiveness and the things that are coming up for her. But lean into a place where you might have a moment or even a little niggling of something that is yet unforgiven. And feel how that feels. And then recall a moment where forgiveness happened and burdens lifted and you felt a relief. And so we'll open the lines for just a couple of moments for any anything that you want to share about that. We don't need the whole story. We'll keep it kind of brief. But a place where you're yet unforgiven or a place that you've actually experienced forgiven and had a relief. So who would like to share, if anybody? Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Glad you made it.
Thank you. I'm still trying to get my audio all set up, so hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm doing this through the computer. And I apologize for joining you late. And I missed some of that first video, but about forgiveness and unforgiveness. I've had to work with it with some family members. And when I hold on to the unforgiveness, my body gets out of alignment, and I feel it in my gut, and there's just this churning, and it feels like a toxicity that I am holding on to. And when I can move, and sometimes I have to keep, it's a 7 times 7, keep forgiving and keep forgiving, 7 times 70. When I can release it and forgive it, it frees me. And then there's that rush of energy that can move back through me. It's like it opens up those blocks whenever I can forgive, but like truly forgive. And not just as a ritual or because I'm supposed to, but because it frees me. So I hope that's relevant to what you've been talking about. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful testimony to forgiveness. I remember a situation where, I've practiced forgiveness for years and think I'm pretty good at it. But every now and again, something in life will show up that it's like, I can't let it go. It's like, I'm still mad about that thing. I mean, I'm pretty much now, but something I held on to for a long, long time. And it's like, you keep working it, you keep working it, you keep working it. And it's not about letting anybody else off the hook. But it is about what Gloria just said. When we master, when we land in this place of forgiveness, the amount of energy that is freed into our system that can be used for conscious co-creation, that can be used for moving into your dreams, that can be used for present moment instead of stuck in the past. It's like shedding chains. It's like shedding armor that no longer fits. Yes, Anthony.
I realized I have gone through mental forgiveness and emotional forgiveness. So in my mind, I keep saying, I keep it, okay, I forgive him, I forgive him, I forgive him. But deep down, I had a hard time forgiving those people who have done wrong to me. So, funny thing, just now, just watching this video and just by discussing with you guys, I realized that I also have to forgive myself for not being able to forgive that quickly and that easily. Like forgiving or more like compounding the forgiveness.
Right.
I may say so.
Right. That's a brilliant realization. And, we call that, that lack of that, we call that metaphysical malpractice. When or we also call it spiritual bypass. When we think we should forgive and we try mentally to forgive, but our system is not ready to forgive. There are times, especially when things were really, we experience betrayal or hurt or abuse.
Yes.
That you don't want to forgive too fast. You want to move to forgiveness, but it is a very spiritual process. And you can't just gloss over it and go, oh yeah, I'm fine, I forgive, where you've got all that rage and things burning inside. We have to clear that inner work first. Great. Wendy, I think you had your mic off for a minute. Did you have something you want to add?
I did. I was actually going to say, Anthony, exactly what you just said of forgiveness of the self. Like that is something else that I just moved through this week. Is I had delayed on doing a project that I knew it needed to be done. I knew it was time sensitive, and I didn't get it done in time. And I've been extremely upset with myself for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And it finally, just this week, I finally realized that it was doing me no good whatsoever to continue to be angry at myself. And I just had to move forward, take responsibility for what I didn't do, and work on fixing the problem that I created by not doing what I knew I needed to do in the first place. And all the energy that I was spending on being angry at myself could very easily be channeled into actually fixing the problem, which is what I started to do. And again, for if you guys heard my earlier share, just all these amazing things have been coming up this week, and all these people are coming, and things are being set on my table that I've been asking for a really long time and haven't been coming. And I just, right before Anthony started talking, I was like, oh gosh, I realized I forgave myself as well as some other people that have been involved in things. So I think it's a big point.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, we're going to jump back into the next segment. I love the idea of sacred friends. I love the story of the Dalai Lama. Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you in a normal day-to-day place do it? And he said, it's not the people, it's the government. Some of us might be able to use that similar with what we're finding in our governments. And not to go political, but when we can separate out, when we can begin to separate out the individual who's doing the action versus the action versus how it's impacting us, what we will find in ourselves is the place that we are reacting to any situation or circumstance is the place within us that is a block. The power of forgiveness, as Mary's teaching it to us here, is the process of identifying that block and removing that block. It's nothing to do with them really, but removing that block in our own consciousness to receive more love. Removing the block in ourselves to a greater awareness of love, to a greater awareness of spirit. And it does take an overcoming, and it does take a process, as we've already spoken. So we'll open the mics for a couple more comments. Where do you have a sacred friend? I still have a sacred friend. Still tied to that one place that I spoke about earlier that still is got triggered again recently. And another person's memory of the situation, I was pretty clear, and her memory and her anger kind of, it's like, not 100% clear yet. So I get to work with it, but not with judgment for myself, not with guilt that I haven't done it yet, not with shame that I haven't done it yet, but that there's still another layer. As Mary said, forgiveness is a process. So where do you still carry burdens, and where do you have sacred friends? We'll hear from somebody if you want to share, or a couple people. What's getting pushed up?
I thought that was so beautiful. I think about the level of oppression, what a tremendous amount of oppression that helped transform this heart with the Dalai Lama. And how it was this tremendous oppression then brought this tremendous individual, and how he took that and used it to open himself to the good. And it inspires me. Yeah, because I think I definitely have some sacred friends too, and that's a good way to start referring to them.
Yeah,
and that it's there for my growth.
And you, because I know a little bit what's going on in your life, is it's very active. Your sacred friends are in your face right now. But to transcend that a little bit to what the Dalai Lama said, if it weren't for them, I would have never had to evolve my heart. Or something along those lines, right? to be bigger, my heart to be bigger.
That really speaks volumes to me right now. You know, in being able to transform the situation, not that necessarily I can transform the other people, but that I can transform and open my heart.
Right.
That's my lesson out of this.
Right. And our work is only always about ourselves. We can't get anybody to be different or act different or say different or any of that. But we can respond differently in our own beingness. Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Back to Mary. Okay, here we go. That piece is called The Trapeze by Danon Perry, D-A-N-A-A-N, Danon Perry. And it brings up two things for me. One, an experience I had probably many years ago now, where I actually did a trapeze. And it was one of those things that I never thought I would do. I never had any interest in doing, and an opportunity came up in a big group of about 80 women I was with, and somebody said, "Who wants to do it?" And I'm like, not me. And then like the next week, they're like, "We need 2 more people." I'm like, "I'm in." I'm like, what just happened? And it was one of those things that I did in order to overcome my fear. And I have great stories about that, too long to share here tonight, but that experience of flying on the trapeze is one I will never, ever forget, because it's visceral, and the letting go of the bar and the grabbing onto the hands of the guy who was catching me. And it was an amazing, phenomenal experience. And the second piece, maybe I'll do a little recording about it sometime because it's such a great story. And the second piece is really thinking about the work that I've been doing and continue to do with Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he talks about reaching the space of the unknown. And we think we don't like the unknown. I've historically not cared for the unknown, especially when I was younger. But the space of the unknown is the place of the infinite. And if we can learn to bask in that place that is not known, we are freed from what he calls the known past or the predictable future. And that's all about the subconscious and the addiction we have to the chemicals in our body and all that stuff. But if we can hang out in the unknown, then we can lean into the vibration, the frequency of the dreams that we have, becoming the woman and the man who's already living those dreams, and being okay with the gap, because it's in the gap that the unknown exists. It's in the unknown that the power and magic of spirit can bring amazing things.
To me easily and effortlessly, money is coming to me.
And of course, that song can easily be money and health and abundance and love. And I love, part of the reason I love that song is the side effects or the other sounds, the laughter, the giggle in there, the sound of the cash register, the old cash registers and all of that. So how fun. Give me a thumbs up if that link worked. That second link worked. Okay, good. Thank you. Apologize for that. So this is week number 6. Next week is our final week. Next week, I have an opportunity I'll be presenting to continue to stay in a structured, sustainable, consistent, structured support system. Because as we end this container at the end of the 7 weeks, it's so important to continue on, to keep the practices up of tithing, wherever that is you're tithing to keep the practices up of staying in your vision, of staying aligned with the frequency of who you are becoming. Keep the practices up of being in daily contemplation of spiritual truth principles, whether they're in this course or another way, shape, or form. But to continue, Prosperity Plus, any of these courses are launching pads. Several of you are in this for the second time or have been in other prosperity classes. I'll have another one beginning. probably not for a couple of months, but let me know if you want to be, included on the list and jump in again. Why would you jump again and again? Because you hear things differently. Your consciousness has changed. Your consciousness has expanded. And so material seems like magically to have changed, but it's only your capacity to receive. So I'm going to let you know about something that will be coming next week. And hopefully everybody will be able to be here next week, because at the end of the course, we'll have a closing ceremony and we'll complete our grand experiment together. What we're studying next week is the laws of obedience and success. So stay in your book. If you've been reading your book, keep reading. Stay in your workbook. Those exercises are so powerful. Even if you've done them before, do them again, to stay listening to the audios and to keep up the practice of being a generous person, being in the giving in time and talent and your presence, in addition to your tithing, which is done inside this course. So I want to wrap up tonight just with the opportunity for each of you who are here live to just give a few words or a couple of sentences about your aha, your takeaway, what you're inspired with this evening. So who wants to start?
I will.
Thank you.
So tonight's class reminded me of a time when I was a lot younger that I took a couple of days and really worked on forgiving and blessing and really feeling that release. And I kept working on that for a while. And it was at a time where I had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and was told that I had an 85% chance of being in a wheelchair by the time I was 25. And by being able to do all of that work, the doctors never found it again. It was gone. And I am definitely not ever been in a wheelchair as far as for that. And so I know that not only it transforms our heart, but it transforms our health.
Yeah. Beautiful. Time to practice again. Time to turn up that dial of another layer of practice. Beautiful. We'll do Wendy, then Anthony, then Glory.
Perfect. I just was figuring out I forget how to unmute myself sometimes. So I was trying earlier. I couldn't get it. So my big takeaway, I want to continue with this self-forgiveness. I definitely felt such a huge lightening when I was able to actually just really let go and forgive, and know that we all make mistakes and it's okay, and even when they're big mistakes, like, we can move through it. And just thinking about Mary and what she went through with her second husband and the church and all the money, and it took her years and years to pay that back, but being able to walk with that integrity and that authenticity of knowing that there was a huge mistake that was made, and she was not only going to make up for that mistake and make it better, but continue to make her life a success and not let that be the definitive moment in her life. And it still is a definitive moment, but transitioning it to a positive rather than such a gnarly, crazy negative. So I just want to keep pushing myself more and more towards that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's such a powerful one. So yeah, keep it going.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anthony.
Mine is forgiving myself for not being able to forgive in the past, and understanding now finally that forgiveness is a process, that I may mentally forgive someone, but if I'm not emotionally ready, it may take some time, but I just give give myself for that time to process that forgiveness.
Yeah. Huge. Kind of similar to where you started tonight, but hopefully it's landed as an experience in you, right? Where it's like, okay, a different understanding. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. And Glory.
I was reminded that the transformation happens in the void, and by letting go and releasing and moving into the areas where I feel uncomfortable sometimes, and I feel frightened, and I don't know how to control it. But if I just allow myself to move it, to flow into that space, that's where my growth is, and that's where my expansion happens. And I also love the story about Jack Boland going through that forgiveness process, because he was becoming a minister and he was in Florida. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my story. I thought that was terrific. It really inspired me, because I do this for me so that I can be clear and I can pursue my dreams and I can live the life that I want. It's not about anybody else, but it's about my life. So it was a beautiful video. I really enjoyed it tonight.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, you know, we can't get anything from the known. We really can't change from the place of being known, because what we want is an unknown. What we want, what our vision is different than what we're experiencing. So that gap is the unknown, and it will automatically be some level of uncomfortable because it's unknown. And so it's really like what if the uncomfortable isn't even uncomfortable anymore? It's just the unknown. And the unknown, and what if the uncomfortableness of the unknown is the exact thing that says I'm getting really close? Right? We play kind of like, you know, circling around our thought processes around us. We're unraveling some of those and releasing ourselves from our past in order to be who we're becoming in our future. Cool. Awesome. I thank you all for being here tonight. Have a very, very blessed Easter weekend, Holy Week. We were talking about that as we began. So allow yourselves, regardless of where you're at in the Holy Week, allow yourselves to lean in to the possibility of a rebirth of your own dreams, a rebirth of the truth of who you are, of your essence. Like, let go. Let the crucifixion, let the Good Friday, like, let it go for a greater good, for a greater awareness. Let the blocks to love dissipate through the work of forgiveness, through the work that we're doing in this course. And have a very, very, very blessed Easter. And may you be not only blessed, but surprised by an unexpected blessing this week. I'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.